Today we are going to do an extension set of notes based off of multiplying polynomials. So this first part, what I'm going to do is kind of review each type of polynomial that we worked with. So if you feel very comfortable with the beginning stages of multiplying, you can skip past this to where we start working on our extension, but I'm going to go ahead and review a little bit. So monomial by monomial, this is the most basic form of multiplication, just one by one. So remember, the rules for multiplication are coefficients get multiplied, so 3 times 5 is 15, and then we add the exponent. So here we have 2 times 7, or 2 plus 7, which is going to give us 9. So this would be our answer, one by one. We then learned about distribution with monomials to binomials. So we just use our same tricks of distribution, making sure we draw all our pathways, and we follow the same rules of multiply the coefficients, add the exponents. So here, 2 times 3 is 6, and then we add the exponent, so we just need to remember there's a 1 here. 2 plus 1 is 3. Then we go down the next pathway, 2 times negative 8, negative 16. Now, there's no letter here to combine with, so it means our variable and exponent remains the same. With bigger distribution, the rules are all the same, so we distribute to all 3 terms, same rules. Multiply negative 4 times 5, that's negative 20. X to the first and to the second makes to the third. Distribute to the next pathway. So negative 4, negative 6, that's going to multiply to a positive 24. X to the second, 1 plus 1. Negative 4 times 7, negative 28, and it remains just x to the first. Then we get into binomials by binomials, and we learned about 2 different methods. We can extend distribution, and then we also learned about box method, which is a more visual representation. So with distributing with 2 by 2s, we need to distribute every term to the second one, and that can get very confusing visually. So what we learn to do is we take the first one and we break it apart, because we know we have to multiply this to the second and this one to the second. Everything has to get multiplied. So we break it apart to do that. So 4x is going to be multiplied to 2x minus 4. 3 is going to be multiplied to negative 2x minus 4. So we broke it apart to make our distribution easier. And now we just followed the rules of distribution that we did before. 4 times negative 2, negative 8x to the second. 4 times negative 4, negative 16x. Distribute the second one, 3 times negative 2, and we're just going to write it as a continuation of the first one. So 3 times negative 2 would be minus 6x. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. So this is all one long polynomial, and another way to check it is this is a 2 by 2. What does 2 times 2 make? 4. There should be 4 terms that were produced, and there was. Now, one thing we'll see, though, is sometimes these terms are like terms, and we can condense it or simplify. So minus 8x squared comes down. We have negative 16, negative 6. That's going to add to a bigger negative, so negative 22. And remember, when we add, we learned this before, adding doesn't change the exponent, so it stays to the first. And then we bring down our minus 12, and that is our answer. Now, sometimes that can be a little tough visually, so we learned something called box method. So box method, we create a physical box to help us show all the combinations. So we look at how many terms we have. We have a 2 by 2, which is the kind of box that we will create. So 2 by 2. We take the terms from the first one and write it as the column. So 3x squared minus 2. And then the rows make the second. Then we just multiply into the boxes. Whatever column and row make that up. So 4 times 3, that is a 12. X to the third. 2 plus 1 is 3, right? 4 times negative 2 is negative 8x. 3 times 5 is 15, x to the second. Negative 2 times 5, negative 10. Now, this is just an organization kind of method. This is not our final answer. So we need to write it out so in a linear fashion so it looks like a polynomial. And we're going to do that by pulling out in standard form. That makes our lives easier. So third, right, so that's going to go first. So positive 12x to the third. This is a positive 15, right? So that means we're going to write plus 15x squared minus 8x minus 10. We look for like terms, but we see all of these have different exponential values, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So we can't combine them, which means we're done. So what we're going to do is look at this in a bigger sense when we're working with bigger problems and just practice through that once or twice. And then for both methods, distribution and box, and that's going to be it. So we're going to do distribution method first. So same rules. We're going to break apart the first polynomial into individual terms. So here our first polynomial will be break it apart, same as before, into two terms, so 3x and 4. Now because I'm multiplying to a larger one, I'm going to put a lot of space between them because I have to write this behind both of them. So what we'll do then is write the second polynomial behind each individual term. So 8x squared plus x plus 6, and then 8x squared plus x plus 6, right? Then we're going to distribute the individual terms into the polynomial and then combine like terms and make sure it's written into standard form. So I'm going to distribute, same rules as before. 3 times 4 or 8 is 24, x to the third because we added 1 and 2. 3 times 1 is 3, x squared. 3 times 6 is 18, 18, and that stays as an x. Then we distribute the next one. 4 times 8 is going to be a positive 32, and so because it's positive, I'm writing this as one line because this is one problem, so I'm attaching it to, so plus 32x squared. 4 times 1 is 4, so 4x. 4 times 6, 24. All one term, right? Now, what you'll see is, especially in these longer ones, it's not in standard form. It's kind of out of order. So it's harder to see when we have like terms. So one thing we can do right away is let's just go ahead and put it into standard form. Our answer should be that way anyway. So 24x cubed plus 3x squared plus 32x squared plus 18x plus 4x plus 24. So a lot of the skills we've already learned are continuing on here, right? So we put into standard form and we see that we have two sets of like terms that we need to combine. So 24x cubed comes down. 3 plus 32 is 35x squared. Remember, when we combine, nothing changes the exponent. 18 and 4 is going to be 22x, and then that 24 comes down. All right, so another one, same thing, we're going to break it apart, stick the second behind it. So 2b and a 1, right? We break it apart, 2b and 1. And then we're going to stick the second polynomial behind it, so b squared plus 3b minus 3, b squared plus 3b minus 3. We're going to distribute. 2 times 1 is 2, so 2b cubed. 2 times 3 is 6, so 6b squared. Remember, that's a 1 and a 1, so that makes 2. 2 times negative 3, negative 6b. Distribute the second one. So this is just a 1, so really it all stays the same. 1 times 1 is positive 1, so plus 1b squared, plus 3b minus 3. So I've distributed everything, and remember, to double check you have it all, what is 2 times 3? That's going to give me 6 terms, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So that is correct. So now I can work on simplifying. So I'm going to put into standard form. Right, same things as before, minus 3 at the end. So I've put in standard form, which gives me my like terms close to each other. So 2b cubed comes down. 6 and 1 makes 7, so 7b squared. Remember, we're adding here, so it's just adding the coefficients. Negative 6, positive 3, negative 3b, and then minus 3. Now, where it can get crazy, this is a 3 by 3. So first of all, what does 3 times 3 equal? 9. This is going to produce 9 terms when I distribute it. So there's going to be a lot going on. Mine might even, I'm going to try and write big for the screen here. So it may go over into this one right here. That's fine. Or if you want to use a separate sheet of paper. Because first thing we have to do is break apart our first polynomial into individual terms. So I have 3 individual terms, 8n squared, 4n, and negative 7. And then I'm going to put the second polynomial behind it. So n squared minus 4n plus 5, n squared minus 4n plus 5, n squared minus 4n plus 5, right? So it is huge here, right? So now I distribute. 8 times 1 is 8, so 8n to the 4th. 8 times negative 4, negative 32n cubed, right? 2 plus 1 is 3. 8 times 5 is 40, so 40n squared. Then I distribute to the next one, 4n. So 4 times 1 is 4, so 4n cubed. 4 times negative 4, negative 16n squared. 4 times 5, 20n. Oh my goodness, and then another one, right? So negative 7 times 1, negative 7n squared. Negative 7 times negative 4, that is going to be positive, careful there, positive 28n. Negative 7 times 5, negative 35. So let's just double check, make sure we have 9 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we produced every single combination that was needed. So now I'm going to put in standard form and simplify, because this can definitely simplify down to something smaller. 8n to the fourth goes first. Then all of our cubes, so negative 32n cubed plus 4n cubed. Then the squareds, there's a lot of those, so plus 40n squared minus 16n squared minus 7n squared plus 20n plus 28n minus 35. So I have a set of 3's. I have 3 squareds and then 1 set of n's. So 8n to the 4th comes down. Negative 32, positive 4, so it's going to become negative 28n cubed. Let's see, 40 minus 16 is going to be 24. 24 minus 7 is going to give me 17. So this is 17n squared. You can just use a calculator if you need to for that. 20 plus 28, they're both positive, so that is a 48n minus 35. So definitely smaller once we simplified, okay? So go ahead. What I want you guys to do is try one on your own. We can try this one right here. If you ran out of room, maybe just use a separate sheet of paper, but go ahead and pause and try on your own. Okay, so I'm going to break this apart, 7p and 8. P squared plus 3p plus 8 is behind it. P squared plus 3p plus 8 behind it. Distribute 7p cubed plus 21p squared plus 56p. Distribute 8p squared plus 24p plus 64. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 times 3 is 6, so that checks out. Now put into standard form. That's the 8p squared, so we have a pair here. 56p plus 24p plus 64, and we have a pair here. 7p cubed comes down. 21 plus 8 is a 29p to the second. 56, 24, so that is 80p, and then 64. Okay, so that is distribution. So what we're going to look at next, box method, okay? And this is where box method is amazing because that was a lot visually. So here, this helps keep all our kind of stuff organized. So first we're going to determine how many terms are in each polynomial. Draw a box with the same number columns and rows as the polynomial. So this one's 2 by 3, so we're going to draw a 2 by 3 box. Label the columns with one polynomial's terms and then with the other. Okay. Now, make sure that when we do these boxes, okay, it's very easy to kind of mess up your work because we have so much. So make sure your boxes are large. Make sure that you're not making this like tiny little box in the corner because you're going to make mistakes if you do that. So then we'll multiply the column and the rows that make each box, sorry, struggling with my words here, make each box, and then write the terms in standard form and combine like terms. So like I said, a 2 by 3. So 2 by 3. I always like to make it a little more horizontal looking. So that's going to force my 2-term one to be over here, 3x and 8, and my 3-term one to be at the top. Again, it doesn't matter which one. You could have done this vertically, but I like it to be a little more horizontal. And then I just multiply into the boxes. So 3 times 4 is 12, 12x cubed. 3 times negative 5, negative 15x squared. 3 times 8, 24x. 4 times 8, 32x squared. 8 times negative 5, negative 40x. 8 times 8, 64. Way quicker, way easier. So then I'm going to pull out in standard form. Now what's kind of nice about box method is usually your like terms are kind of next to each other like that, so you can kind of preemptively see if you have them. So I'm going to pull out in standard form. So 12x cubed plus 32x squared minus 15x squared, negative 40x plus 24x plus 64. Like terms are next to each other. Okay, so that 12x cubed is going to come down. 32 minus 15 is going to give me a 17x squared. Negative 40 plus 24 is negative 16x plus 64. That's it. So next example, another 2 by 2. So not 2 by 2, 2 by 3. All right, so I'm going to draw 2 by 3. 6k, negative 1 is going to be the rows. Negative 2k squared, 6k, negative 6k and negative 7. Lots of negatives here. Multiply into my rows. 6 times negative 2, negative 12k squared. This is negative 36. Oh, sorry, not squared. My bad. Make sure we pay attention to the 1 there. 1 and 2 makes 3. Negative 36k squared, because 1 and 1 makes 2. 6 and negative 7, that is going to make a negative 42k. Negative times negative is positive 2k squared. Positive 6k, positive 7. So organize, you can kind of see it's already in standard form, so we're just going to pull it out in that. Negative 12k cubed minus 36k squared plus 2k squared minus 42k plus 6k plus 7. Like terms, so negative 12k cubed. Negative 36 positive 2 is negative 34k squared. Negative 42 positive 6 is negative 36k plus 7. All right, the doozy, right? 3 by 3. So this is where having the box really, really helps out visually. So make it a little bit bigger because it's 3 by 3. And for this one, it won't matter which one you write where because they're both 3. So 5b squared, 3b, and 6. 3b squared minus 8b plus 7. Multiply to the rows and columns, right? 5 times 3 is 15, so 15b to the 4th. Negative 40b cubed, 5 and 7, 35b squared. So you can see I'm kind of writing smaller, like little scrunched up. So I probably should have made this one bigger just so I don't accidentally mess up my work, right? 3 times 3 is 9, so 9b cubed. 3 times negative 8, negative 24b squared. 3 times 7, 21b. 6 times 3 is 18b squared. 6 times negative 8 is negative 48b. 6 times 7, 42. And again, even here, you can see that the diagonals are the like terms. So the cubes, the squareds, and the ones. So I'm going to pull out into standard form. So this may end up going into the next one. So I'm going to pull out 15b to the 4th minus 40b cubed plus 9b cubed plus 35b squared minus 24b squared plus 18b squared. Then my first, so plus 21b minus 48b plus 42. So double check, make sure you got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 3 by 3 is 9, so I got them all written out. Now I see all my like terms, and I'm going to combine. 15b to the 4th. Negative 40 plus 9 is negative 31b cubed. 35 minus 24 is 11b. Oh, sorry, there's 3 of them. So that's 11. And then 11 plus 18 is going to give me 29b squared. 21 minus 48, that is going to give me negative 27b. And then that plus 42 comes down. And it's perfectly okay when you're adding to use a calculator. I'm using one here, so don't be afraid to use your calculator so that you make sure you add and subtract correctly. So that is it for box method. Okay, so we will pick up with this in class tomorrow. There's a couple extra practice ones. This video is already kind of long, so I'm not going to go over some more with these, but you can practice them on your own, and we will spend a day with these larger ones tomorrow.